Saturday morning cartoon and drawing classes for 4 months. It is a fun family activity that we really look forward to every week. My 3 kids are currently 5, 6, and 8 years old. They have different interests and skill levels. Yet each child enjoys the class and gets something out of it.
We draw Sonic, we draw Dr. Eggman, we draw Piggy on a black marker, and then we ink it, and then we take some colors. Saturday Cartoon Club is really nice, and I love coloring, and I like making stuff. When we make pictures, I always add details. It's about drawing new stuff and learning new skills to draw better and to be a better artist.
Mr. Daniel makes them feel welcome at each class. He often calls them Paulin by name and gives personalized praise and feedback. They learn new techniques and enjoy recreating some of their favorite characters. Often, the 1-hour class turns into several hours of independent drawing, as the kids usually want to elaborate upon what they have drawn, create a scene, add in different characters, and so forth. These classes are a really fun part of our weekend, where we can just sit down together as a family to do a creative activity that everyone enjoys.
We love Saturday Cartoon Club!
With Mr. Grissom's class, I learned to draw a lot of animals and draw my own characters. Thank you, Mr. Grissom.
Now my daughter is also engaged in more drawing in her free times. Thank you, Mr. Grissom.
And I'll be back. We've been taking Mr. Grissom's classes for a few months and we improved our drawing skills. Thank you, Mr. Grissom.
That's mommy?
Unicorns. Thumbs up if you've drawn a unicorn before.
This is mommy?
Okay, so
That's daddy?
some of you drawn dragons, lots of you drawn unicorns.
And this
So
one?
guess what? Some of you already
Mommy? Okay, let's send it to mommy.
I want you to remember what you know.
My daughter's had 2 of your art classes now, and she's always been an art fan. She says she wants to grow up and be an artist, and she's an amazing artist already, but she's gotten some quick tips from you that have helped her. She can draw in like 5 seconds now an amazing Pokemon character, so thank you.
Hi everyone, Sophie here. I've been joining Mr. Grissom's classes for almost 4 months now. I have learned a lot about detailing, 3D drawings, and many more. I love how friendly, kind, and patient Mr. Grissom is. He gave clear instructions too. Here are some drawings I made using techniques that Mr. Grissom taught me in class. This is a licking puppy. These are pets watching the screen. And this one is Crash Bandicoot. Thank you also, Mr. Grissom. You have taught me a lot and love about my drawing skills. I can't wait to learn even more from you. Bye!
What's up, everybody? It's Mr. Grissom here. My students call me Mr. G, and I am so glad to be drawing with all of you. Give this video a like. If you can hear me okay, we are live. I see your chat, your comments in the chat. For example, Rhiannon just posted, so excited, she just commented. Jamie said, let's go. What else we got here? Jeff says, cool. All right, so we can see you, you can hear me, and make sure you got your supplies ready. Here's what you need today. You need your pencil, you need your eraser, you need some paper, and if you have some coloring utensils, that's gonna come in handy today as well. So let's jump in. Let me introduce you to the class. Let me introduce you to who I am, and then we're gonna start drawing together. First of all, would you do me a favor and type in the comments, where are you from? Some of you already done that. Comment, where are you from? We have people joining us from all over the world. Shout out to my people in Texas and the areas in the US affected by Hurricane Beryl. I hope you are staying safe. You might not be joining now, you might be watching this on the replay. Many people have had their power knocked out, have lost electricity. So our thoughts and prayers are with you. So type where you are from in the chat. We're on a little bit of a delay here. We've got people joining us from India, Ohio, Texas, Canada, Indonesia, Colorado, New Jersey, Great Britain. So cool. Awesome. It's so good to have all of you joining us today. So my name is Daniel Grissom. I'm an artist and an educator. Many of my students call me Mr. G. You can call me whatever's easiest for you to remember. I live in Tennessee in the United States with my wife and my 2 daughters here. And I've been a teacher all over the world in different schools and different classrooms, teaching lots of different students of all backgrounds. It's what I love to do. And I'm an artist, and I like to draw my own characters, originals that I create, and I also like to draw fan art, famous characters, popular characters. I'm looking for art all around me, and I'm looking to see how I can recreate it and draw the things that I love, and I hope that you're doing the same thing. Some of you will recognize some of these characters and some other characters that we'll draw today. My favorite thing to do is to teach art classes. I want to make sure you never forget that you have amazing talents and creativity to share with the rest of the world. Whether it's sharing it with me or a friend or your parents, it's important to share your creative talent with others, whether it's a friend at school or a relative. Try not to keep it to yourself. Bless other people with the talent that you have. And you all have talent, and we are going to grow that talent together this week. You can see we have students from all over the world who have been sharing their art already in our private Facebook group, drawing all sorts of different cool styles, and we love to see them. So, this week in cartooning camp, you're going to be inspired to keep drawing what you love. Okay? And that's really important. Draw what you love, not what you feel like you have to draw. You'll learn a lot from me, you'll draw along with me, but most importantly, I want you to keep drawing what you love to draw. You're going to learn a bunch of cartooning tips to improve your art. You're going to learn how to deal with art frustration and perfectionism. Any perfectionists here? If you're a perfectionist, let me know in the chat. Sometimes I am, honestly. But I'm getting over it. I've learned lots of things. Hey, Catherine's in Tennessee too. Welcome, neighbor. That's where I am. We've got people from all over. So cool. Northern Ireland. Third thing you're going to learn this week, you're going to learn how to deal with your art frustration and perfectionism that I mentioned. And the last thing is we're going to set you on the path to growing as an artist. So my hope, by the end of this week, you're going to have lots of new skills that will help you beyond this week, and you'll be more confident than ever to keep drawing those things. So today we're learning the top 3 cartooning secrets that when I learned these, it helped my art so much. Tomorrow, you're going to learn the sticks and shapes method for drawing better people with a special focus on anime. Any anime fans here? I see some of you letting me know that you're anime fans. Let me know if you like anime and manga. You don't want to miss tomorrow. Wednesday, we're going to learn the top 3D shapes to master for better art. That's how I get my stuff looking really 3D, is what you're going to learn on Wednesday. And then lastly, on Thursday, you're going to learn shading shortcuts to add depth, dimension to your artwork. So here's some tips to have the most fun with us this week and today. You can use the comments in the Camp Hub that my team is sharing in the chat. And my team is moderating the chat there. And my team they'll pin the Camp Hub link at the top of the chat. Click at the very top of the chat. You'll see the Camp Hub. There you'll see if you scroll down, you'll see a link where has instructions on how to join the chat if you want. But you don't have to join the chat. Some of you, it might be distracting, so just ignore it if you want. Whatever works for you, what's most important is that you have the most fun and do what works for you, okay? So no pressure to chat, but if you like, you can. Try out the tips that I teach you, even if it's too easy or even if it's too hard. Give it a shot, okay? And lastly, if you learned one new thing, I want you to remember, if you learn one thing or you have a new thought about one thing in today's class, then you've succeeded, okay? It's been a success. Now, for the comments, you need to make sure you keep it positive, stay on topic, don't spam the chat, have fun. My team's helping me out here, and so you don't want to get put in timeout now. All right, so they have if there's too much spam, which is off-topic stuff or super distracting stuff, they'll go ahead and put a timeout on the chat. But follow these rules, and you'll have fun with the chat. All right. So let's jump into our top 3 cartooning secrets for today. You ready for this? These secrets are what have helped my student IU draw like this, a whole variety of different characters. It's what helped my student Kirit go from what you see on the left to drawing that amazing, vibrant anime and manga art on the right. It's what's helped June go from a little nervous, not so sure about her skills, to now she is an amazing artist in a whole bunch of different styles, selling her art in galleries and shops. And one thing I like to point out about what you see here with my students is you see that they have a whole bunch of different styles. Kieran here is coloring in colored pencil, and so he's used the secrets I've taught him to make this amazing art. Others have done marker, like Noah here, who improved so quickly with these secrets in just 3 lessons, okay? So start drawing with me, and you'll see, I'll tell you as we go along where there's going to be places for you to add your own creative touch to your art, okay? But we'll start all together. So grab your pencil. Here we go. Back up. Let me fix this camera and go back. Secret number 1, everything can be drawn from the most simple, basic shapes. We just got a big circle on our page so far, but guess what? Shape after shape after shape, and you get all the characters you love. Learn to see like an artist, and you'll see how you can draw anything you want from basic shapes. So we got a circle so far. Secret number 2, if you use what I call contrast means opposites in the sizes. That's going to lead to better characters. Big and small shapes in the same character are going to lead to amazing designs for your characters, whether you're drawing famous ones or creating your own. All right, so you all got a circle? Some of you notice that we lost sound for a second. We are back. No sound. All right, so sorry about that. We're back with sound. Not sure what happened there. Here's what we've drawn so far. A circle and 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 other circles. We are live right now, so sometimes that comes with technical difficulties. I apologize for the no sound. Thank you so much for letting me know. You can communicate with us live in the chat. That's helpful. Yeah, there will be audio while we draw. We are back with the sound now, so you should hear the sound. Thanks for letting me know. All right, so we've got our circle, and then we've got a few other circles. Now, if you take a circle and you stretch it, you don't have to draw these, but you can if you want over to the side. You're going to get ovals. These come in very handy. So let's put little ovals there underneath. And then what we're going to do is I mentioned secret number 2 was this idea called contrast, which means big shapes with little shapes combined in the same character. So we have these big eyes. Now let's combine it with tiny little shapes. Let's take a circle and let's split it in half. And you get a little half circle. And that's a little mouth. Now, some of you might recognize this little character we're drawing. If not, no worries. But we are drawing this little character that some of you recognize called Pomni. That's right. Fia got it. This is Pomni. Oh, interesting. Mario and Luigi fan said that our character here looks a little bit like Kirby, and it did start out looking a lot like Kirby. You'll see so many of your favorite characters are drawn from the same combinations of very simple shapes. Another simple shape that we like to use a lot here, and animators and illustrators use, is squares. And what we really like to do with these is curve them. And you get these shapes like this. And you'll see how this combination, this combined with circles, is so popular. Watch this. Take that shape. We're going to add it right there, one there, and turn another one there. These are just rectangles that we curve. Okay? So we've used basic shapes. We got contrast. Now, another shape we'll use a lot is, and I'm going to put this here for you. Contrast is, we're talking about opposites next to each other, opposite sizes, like big and small. And you'll see lots of examples of this today. Big eyes, tiny little mouth, makes for more interesting characters. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take, let's go to triangles, but we're going to stretch them out like this, and we're going to curve them. So we take these basic shapes, and lots of times we'll curve them. And let's add these long, skinny triangles on the side. Try to get them to go smoothly into the hair, or into the side of that circle. Look how they smoothly just attach along that circle. Now I'm drawing with pencil. I'll be erasing a lot here and there as I go. Nothing wrong with erasing. And guess what? By the way, some of you I've heard in the Facebook group that you get really upset when you're coloring or you're inking and you're using a pen and something goes wrong because you can't erase it. Well, guess what? I used to get upset until I realized, you know what all the artists are doing? We're using whiteout, whether it looks like this or other whiteout, or maybe a white ink or white pen, and you can always cover it up or just restart. We'll make lots of mistakes together this week. And if you're not making mistakes, then you probably aren't drawing enough, okay? In fact, last week we had a comic artist, professional comic artist, join us in our members workshop that we had. And he has done covers for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comics. And he showed us comics covers where he used whiteout on them for the official work. And he was doing his inking and he goes over and whiteout and inks over top. So any real artist makes tons of mistakes. All right. How we doing? Now, I love this question. Jessica said, can I draw her with a scarf? We've got the basics here in place, and you can absolutely customize this to make it your own. That's one of the things I want you to do, is if we're drawing too slow for you, make it your own. Add shading, add your own details. One thing I'm going to do that's going to help is I'm going to come down here at the bottom of this eye, and I'm going to thicken the bottom of this eye, that eyelid, and I'm going to thicken this one too. And this is a technique that really works well when you're inking your work, when you're going over it with a black marker or a black outline. But it's called changing the line weight, and the weight just means thickness. And that's going to give it a really cool look. All right, let's go on the inside of these pupils, and we're going to split it up into a bunch of little triangles. Just 3 little lines. So everything we've used so far is one of these basic shapes. We're just getting warmed up here, everybody. We're going to do way more advanced stuff later. And we'll do some other warm-up beginner stuff later too. So you're going to end every class, every single class this week with multiple characters drawn, okay? Now, Mr. Z said, can I add a different hat? Absolutely. Make this your own. I'm going to draw Pomni's hat, which is character that many of you know, but you can add your own. At this point, you can turn it into what you want. If you want to make it look just like her, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my basic shapes. I'm going to do the triangle, and I'm going to curve this big triangle. It's got a little bit of a bend in it up top, and it comes down about to her cheeks, and then it curves up and over. So that's one half. And I always draw really lightly first. Hardly ever do professional artists go and straight in with their ink pen. Mine's somewhere around here. Here's one that I use. Hardly ever do they start with this or a Sharpie first. Some of you do that, and it's fun to try that out. But usually we're going to start with pencil and then ink once we've got all the lines in the right spot. So we're going to make lots of mistakes, which means we're going to use our eraser a lot. And that's how we're going to have fun together. You got to play with your art. You got to experiment. You got to try new things. Like some of you said, look, Scott said, Rayma said, I'm going too fast. Thank you. I'll come back to that. I'll slow down. You might be able to rewind a little bit at the bottom. See if you can do that. You might even be able to pause this. I'm not sure. We are live on YouTube. You'll get the replay afterwards. Scott said, can we draw different bangs? Absolutely, you can draw different bangs. You can draw anything different here. I want you to start with me, which you have. Now you can turn it into your own. All right. I'm going to split this up into she's got red and blue and yellow in her outfit. And right here, I'm going to add this extra line. Now, if I'm going too fast, remember, you can go back and watch any part of the replay. And don't worry about yours looking just like mine, okay? There might be some parts, there's artists that are way better than me. And I'll watch their stuff and I have to pause it. But sometimes I have to stop and just try it again later. Rewind it over and over. So don't worry about it being perfect. There's no such thing as perfect art. We're going to learn more about that this week together with me, and we're going to have a special guest joining us later this week. No such thing as perfect art. Don't worry about making it perfect. If we're going too fast for you, I'd say just pause the thing you're working on and move to the next thing we're working on. So try to add this little band right here. You'll notice I erased the bottom of these lines to put that in there. So our first character we did today is Pomni, is her name. And if you don't know who it is, no worries. It's a little character from a little show, and I like her design. She's got a very interesting use of basic, simple shapes. Added another curved triangle in here. And she's got lots of contrast, which is this idea. You'll learn more about this as we go, but it's this idea of combining big and small in the same character. So when I drew my Sonic, I'm noticing how it's got big head, small body, big eyes, small nose. There's always mistakes in my art. You might notice how there's a little whiteout back there. So let's erase together. Let's make mistakes. Let's not worry about making mistakes. Here's another little character I did the other day. It's got contrast, big belly, small little legs, big eyes, tiny little nose. This little red panda character. All right. Can I give her a bow? Absolutely. Yeah. How long are the classes, Deborah? They are an hour. So we got over 30 more minutes left. Folks, what I would like you to do right now is to take a look at Pomni, and if you want, you could color it like you see here. You could add a body. You could add a background. You can add whatever you want to make it your art. Now, there's no such thing as, let's say if you've got a pencil and you've got something to draw with, there's always something to do. There's always something that you can add. So now what you can do to your art is you can shade it, you could color it, you could ink it with a black marker, you could add a body. So would you go ahead and make this your own? And I can't wait to see how yours turn out. You can share it with me in the Facebook group after class if you like so we can see. Now, I want to tell you, as you are working on your Pomni, remember, if we're going too slow for you, add what you know. What do you already know about art? You're an artist. What do you know? What can you add to it? What techniques can you add? If it's too fast, forget about making it perfect and just catch up with us. And be sure to make the art your own. I love how two of these students, they both did one of my Rainbow Friends Blue lessons. And look how they made it their own. One did a totally different coloring style. One added a body and a background. So I really want you to make this art your own. So as you're making this art your own, I got to tell you all a little story that's going to be really important for our work today. Okay? So listen in. Doodle on your paper, draw along, shade, color, whatever you want to your Pomni drawing. But listen in, and if you want, you could follow along, because I made a little comic about this story. See, once, there's a little boy, very similar to you. He loved to draw. And he would draw every chance he got at school. He'd show his teachers. He'd show his parents. He was reading a lot. He would draw the things that filled his imagination, whatever he wanted to. He just loved it. But one day, he was in class at school, and his teacher, Miss Crankyfurter, saw him drawing in the side of his math homework. She saw him doodling on the side of his math homework. Now, if you look closely, you'll see he finished the classwork. He finished it. And then so he was doodling on the side. But Miss Crankyfurter did not like people doodling on her worksheets. So anybody ever had a Miss Crankyfurter before? Anybody ever know what it's like to have somebody who don't like you drawing maybe on your schoolwork? Have you ever gotten in trouble for drawing at school? I hope not. But maybe. Well, his mother got a phone call from school one day, and she goes, "It's Miss Crankyfurter." And the boy's like, "What in the world? Why is she calling? What did I do? I don't think I've done anything bad. I don't think I've done anything wrong." Well, thankfully, his mom said it's not that big of a deal, but you can't draw Miss Crankyfurter's class anymore. And that really upset the little guy. He felt like there was something wrong with drawing the things that he loved. He felt like there was something wrong with doodling. In fact, he, as he grew up, faced other people that were like Miss Crankyfurter, and he gave up drawing altogether in the end. He stopped. He let Miss Crankyfurter discourage him way too much. He stopped drawing altogether for most of his life, actually. And he felt like this old robot. Grow up, stop doodling. He felt boring and dead inside. Until one time, as a grown man, this guy, he took an art class. And in that art class, he had a teacher who encouraged him to draw the things that he loved. They got together, he and the other adults. It was an adult art class. It was about comics. And they shared their work with each other, and that changed his life. And so a few years later, this guy loves cartooning and comics more than anything. Makes him feel like a kid again. Now, Amari, you're exactly right. Miss Crankyfurter is mean and rude. Some of you are homeschooled, like Max, and so you haven't faced a Miss Crankyfurter like that, so that's awesome. Kai said that sounds like her childhood, or his childhood, exactly. And so some of you have faced a Crankyfurter before. Some of you, thankfully, you have not. And Nehemiah says this is who? Nehemiah says this is you. This is me. You're exactly right. That is me. Guillaume, you're exactly right, too. That's Mr. G. This is me. That is a true story of what happened to me, and that's me as a little kid. I was a big Mickey Mouse fan, dressed up like this. That's when I was a little younger than you, way back in the 1980s. You can tell by the 1980s wallpaper on the wall. So I stopped drawing for most of my life. I just got back into it 7 or 8 years ago because of an art class I took with the teacher that changed my life. That's why I started Kids Cartoon Academy, to make sure you don't give up drawing like I did. Now, here's the thing that you need to know about Crankyfurters. Maybe you haven't faced the teacher, Miss Crankyfurter, but guess what? She's not the only Crankyfurter you will face. She's not the only Crankyfurter in the world. They are everywhere. Have you ever felt bad because your art wasn't as good as someone else's? That's a Crankyfurter. Have you ever ripped up your art in frustration? That's a Crankyfurter. See, what you'll notice is the Crankyfurters are inside us too sometimes, those negative voices that try to discourage you. Have you ever cried over ruining your art? Crankyfurter. Have you ever stopped drawing for a long time because you were just too busy? Sometimes our busy schedules can be Crankyfurters. Or how about this? I've heard some of you tell me already that you've been scared to add color or something or take the next step because you think you might ruin your art. Crankyfurter. Anyone ever made fun of your art? It's a Crankyfurter. Crankyfurters come in all shapes and sizes. Christina said, what was my teacher's name? It was Miss Crankyfurter. All right, well, maybe that wasn't her real name, but I'll protect her privacy. So we've named her Miss Crankyfurter. Now, what's the best way to defeat the Crankyfurters? Let me know in the chat. What do you think? If you have faced bullies, discouraging thoughts, perfectionism, feeling like your art has to look a certain way, it's a Crankyfurter. How have you overcome them? How do we defeat them? What do you think? Let me know. Smiley Girl says she's cried and ripped her art before. Yeah, definitely a Crankyfurter. You draw them away. You keep drawing. Lots of you said, yeah, you've had trouble. You've ruined your art before. I have loads and loads of pieces of art that I've ruined. I usually don't throw them away. I just put them in a pile. But guess what? We're gonna make some mistakes together. It happens. You ruin your art. The nice thing is, you just keep drawing. That's what keeps the Crankyfurters away. So let's draw. Hopefully some of you have had some shading and coloring or bodies or background to Pomni and you've been drawing. Secret number 3. Shapes say things. The shapes we use say things. They communicate ideas. So when we're using very basic shapes like circles, triangles, and rectangles and bending them and stretching them, we can actually say things with them. So for example, this is the best way to show this. How do you draw a shark? Anybody know how to draw a shark? Have you ever drawn a shark before? Students ask me, how do I draw a shark, Mr. G? How do I draw a person? How do I draw eyes? How do I draw Pomni or Jax or Mickey Mouse or Deku or Naruto or whoever? And I say, well, what kind do you want to draw? Because there's different ways. Depends on the shapes you want to. Depends on the shapes you use. Depends on what you want to say about your character. In The Bad Guys, they use circles to draw a shark. In Finding Nemo, they use triangles to draw sharks. Is your character good or are they bad? What is your character like? That's going to decide the shapes you're going to use. See, circles, put more circles in your design to show that someone is warm or friendly or funny or welcoming. Just like you see in all of these famous characters. Rounded shapes show someone is friendly or funny. Triangles, though, show someone is dangerous, scary, bad. It's even in nature. Things with pointy shapes are usually more dangerous. Not always, but usually. As you can see with the shark, the wolf, and the crocodile, it's even in nature. And so, of course, it's in cartoons too. Now, Batman's not an evil guy, but he sure is dangerous and dark. He's dangerous for villains. So look at how all these famous characters, many of you recognize these, they're composed of triangles. Now, triangles don't just show someone's bad, they also show someone is speedy and fast. And so then rectangles, what do they show? That someone is stable, strong, sturdy, muscular. They're not going to be easily moved. It could be strong on the outside or inside. Strong in a good way or stubborn. Now, it can also be added to clothing, not just the characters themselves. You ever compare this character Deku, who's a good guy and he's strong and made of rectangles and circles, because it's strong and friendly, versus these villains in the same show that are made of so many triangles and pointy shapes. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to introduce you to our epic project. Now I can't wait to see what you did with Pomni. Be sure to share whether it's finished or unfinished. It's up to you. I have piles and piles of unfinished work. I'll finish this one later. I'll add it to the pile. And I also have piles and piles of finished work. Lots of it I'll frame and put behind me, and you'll see, you'll finish some work today or this week that hopefully you'll frame as well and put it up on your wall or on the fridge at least, or give it to someone. So I can't wait to see what you did with Pomni. Share it with me in the Facebook group afterwards. We'll have giveaways too. People are going to win prizes for sharing their art with us. But what we're going to do now is we're going to begin our epic project. We're going to draw a new character right now. And the epic project is something that we're going to work on this week. We're going to add to it a little bit each day. Today we're going to add a piece to it. Tomorrow we're going to add another piece to it. By Thursday, you'll finish your epic project. And you'll have a full-page piece of art that represents your own creative journey. So what's important now is move the Pomni paper to the side. Grab another sheet of paper. This is going to be your epic project. We're going to work on it all week long. Okay? All right. Charlie's done with Pomni. I think Lisa saw my Jax over there. Realistic shaded Jax. You can see behind there. Wants to draw Jax. All right. I think you are ready. Let's draw. Lauren wants to see my daughters. You might hear them. They're little girls, so they yell and laugh and sometimes cry a lot. You might hear them sometimes. I might bring them in later. We'll see. All right, let's do it. We're going to draw our epic project. By the way, if you mess up your epic project, you can always start over. Let's go ahead and get started with it. New sheet of paper, everybody. Here's what I want you to do. Turn it landscape, which means horizontal, okay? Sideways like this. And this epic project is going to be a piece that's going to represent your own creative journey. It's going to have you in it. It's going to have other characters in it. It's going to have backgrounds. It's going to have 3D art in it. And we're going to teach you every day how to do all those things step by step, okay? So one thing at a time. First thing I want you to do is we're going to draw the ground line, but it's going to be sort of an action scene. It's actually going to be you facing off against a Crankyfurter, but what we're going to draw right now is what's the Crankyfurter that you might face? And I'll tell you what I mean by that. First, let's draw the ground line. We're going to draw this action scene, so it's going to be a lot cooler if you do it a little slanted. So draw this slanted line. The highest it goes up is about halfway up the page. And we're going to slant the ground line. It doesn't need to be super straight. It's okay if it's wobbly, actually, because the ground can be wobbly. That might add a little more action to it. Just sketch a line straight across. Try to do it lightly. Don't press too hard. Parts of it are going to need to be erased. All right, now that you've got that drawn, what we're going to do is I'm going to tell you how we're going to frame this piece. And don't get too far ahead. If you are working ahead, work ahead on another sheet of paper, okay? Not on your epic project yet, because you might fill up the area and you won't be able to draw what we're going to draw tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to draw you over here facing a Crankyfurter. Right now we're going to draw a Crankyfurter over here. So you need to think, what is your Crankyfurter going to be like? What negative influence have you ever faced in your life ever? Whether it's a bad thought, a discouraging thought, or a teacher, or if you've never faced a Crankyfurter, what might you face someday? You can imagine you're going to recreate it in its silly monster form. So you're going to think about what your Crankyfurter's like, and you got to think of the shapes. If it's strong, it's going to be blocky. If it's scary, it's going to be pointy. If it's fast, it's going to be pointy. If it's rounded, it's going to be goofy. And it's a bad Crankyfurter, so you're probably going to use more triangles to show they're bad. And you can draw along with me or create your own. But what I want you to do is keep it in this area right here, just to the right of the middle of your page. And it's going to be about the size of your hand, okay? The palm of your hand. So it's going to be in this area here. And you might want to draw a big blocky Crankyfurter. You don't need to draw this. I'm giving you a few ideas, and I'm going to start drawing mine in a little bit. It might be a big, strong Crankyfurter made of big rectangles and blocks like this. Everything I've drawn has been a rectangle, by the way. So maybe it's a big, mean Crankyfurter like this. You can create your own. I'm going to start drawing mine in a second, if you would like to draw along with me. Or maybe it's a tall, skinny, scary monster Crankyfurter. You can really create your own. If you want to draw along with me, let's go ahead and get started. One Crankyfurter right here, a little monster that you are going to defeat. Go ahead and put right above this horizon line, right to the middle of your page, very, very lightly with your pencil, this oval. See, why am I using ovals and rounded shapes? Well, remember, not because he's friendly, because circles and ovals, rounded shapes, they show someone's friendly, but they also show someone's goofy. So I'm going to make mine a little bit scary, but pretty goofy too, because in my old age, I finally learned you draw enough and you actually learn how to defeat the Crankyfurters. You just got to keep drawing. So they don't scare me too much, so I'm going to make it sort of look goofy now. And then what I want you to do is we're going to take an oval and we're going to curve it like this. And that creates what's called a bean shape. And bean shapes are really, it's like this shape here. It could be like a bean. It could be long. One side could be smaller, one side could be thicker. It's just a curved oval. I'm drawing that up high here. So this is the start of my Cranky-Furter, and I'm going to turn him into, I don't know, he's going to be a monster for my imagination, but I'll use some of your ideas as we create this together. He's all going to be from basic shapes. So let me know some ideas in the chat. Should he be like a wolf monster, a dragon monster, a crocodile monster? What type of monster? Christy Lynn said, do we have to draw the same? No, you don't. Remember, you could draw along with me or create your own. You're drawing a monster right here in this part of your page. And what I don't want you to go too big. I don't want you to stretch it too far. Stay in this one area. If you want, you could draw along with me. Now, I'm going to take a rectangle and make that his feet by bending it. And what I want you to do is bring the feet into the ground line. He needs to be touching the ground line, and he should be a little bit. I'm going to bring this. I messed up already. See, I'm going to mess up together. Needs to be a little bit further. And this foot on the other side is going to be a little smaller because it's further away. But it still comes below the ground line. So you want the feet to come below that ground line, okay? This is called the horizon line, and it's slanted right now. You'll see by the end when it's all finished, we're going to have backgrounds. We're going to have 3D shapes. We're going to have you. We're going to have some other characters. It's going to be a little representation of your own creative journey. Yeah, Tiff, good question. Someone said, can it have high heels? Sure. Amanda said, what about a cat monster? Sure. A pig monster. Cool. Okay, I might put some pig parts in this. A wolf. Okay. Crystal said, can it go over the ground line? Make sure it comes below the ground line. That's what's going to be important to create depth in your art. So wherever the legs are, if you drew them just like me or different, bring them below this ground line, okay? Now, oh, Willow said, can mine fly? Yes, it can. What I would do if you want to make a flying one, I would put it on the ground now, and then you can add in this area, you can add other flying Cranky-Furters because you're probably going to face more than one. Good question. You could add others back here. What I'm going to ask you to do until tomorrow, do not draw on the left on this side of the page. Keep this side of the page open because we're going to create the epic standoff of you tomorrow. We're going to learn how to draw better people. We're going to show you a method to draw better people tomorrow. Don't draw on the left side. All right, let's get this thing going now. I'm going to draw some feet. I'm just going to do some ovals, all very lightly with pencil now. And that's because I'm making them look pretty silly and goofy, but by the end, I'm going to add lots of triangles because it's going to be scary. So think about what your character is like. Remember what those shapes say. Squares show they're strong. Like I got these rectangles. They show he's strong and built. And a little bit intimidating, but the circles show he's a little bit goofy. Now, I saw some people say make him like a wolf. So what I'm going to do is add this long wolf snout because I'm going to make it really long and skinny because every part is sort of fat right now. So I'm going to make him long and skinny here. A long, skinny snout to add contrast, this idea of opposite sizes. So I'm going to add this long, skinny snout, and then I'm going to take these curved rectangles again, and I'm going to flip them this way. Look at this. Now I've got a mouth. Now remember, you might draw along with me. What's most important is that you have fun. If you get stuck, you can try what I'm drawing and keep trying and retry, or just stop and create your own. As you're creating your own, think about what our circles say in our basic shapes. What our triangles say about their scary or bad or evil. So you're probably going to use lots of these. Frankfurters are bad news. Make thick blocky shapes if they're strong. Now, I'm going to add a little jaw down here. And remember, if you are ready to go faster, then I want you to add things to this and make it your own. Add what you know. Erase some lines here that I don't need anymore as I've put these shapes together. And I don't want him looking like he's smiling so much, so I'm going to erase the top and curve it down like this. So he's got less of a smile and more like a yell. What's he saying? You might add a speech bubble. What does your Frankfurter say? Do they say, what's the negative voices that you face in your mind sometimes, or maybe in the real world? What do they say? Do they say, stop doodling and pay attention? Do they say, your art's not as good as his or hers? Do they say, oh, this is horrible, rip it up and throw it away? What does your Frankfurter say? Somebody said pig, so I'm going to add a pig part here. I'm going to add this little nose. It'll look a little bit like a dragon. Here's a little tip. If yours has nostrils, you could try this. It's a little circle in the end. You erase the bottom of it so it attaches to the snout. Now I'm going to put two little nostrils here. I'm going to make the one on the right bigger. Remember, you can rewatch this replay if you want to watch any of these techniques a little slower. And add a little curved line in there and then color in the right side. Now, some of you, by the end of the week, you might want to color it in. You might want to just shade it with pencil. You might want to color in marker. Color pencils is up to you. Don't color it in yet, though. This is going to stay unfinished until the end of the week. So only do this piece with us. So once you finish your Frankfurter, you can add more details to it, or you can add more Frankfurters back here. But don't add to the rest of the page yet, because we're going to do backgrounds and other things together. So if you finish, you want to draw some more, draw another Frankfurter. Draw another scene on another page. I hope you're drawing more than just one thing a day. You can draw it, use what you learned about basic shapes, and we'd love to see it. All right, what type of arms should he have? I saw oh, cool, shark. We could add some shark parts to this. How about some little fins, or these could be spikes. Makes them look sort of like a dragon. I think it's definitely time to add some spikes and things. I think he's going to have a tail too. Now you could decide you want yours. Should my character be furry or scaly? Furry or scaly? Let me know. And based on your ideas, I'll make it furry or scaly. Now, oh, cool. Allison's doing a funky monkey. Amy says bear arms. Okay. Somebody says make it buff or a bat. These are cool ideas. Somebody said sure. Okay, that's a cool idea. Lupe said tentacles. Give him tentacles. All right, let me finish this tail. I'm going to make it look like this tail is sort of on the ground and it goes in the background. If you want, you could do this, but you could also just make it your own. See, these classes are all about me teaching you a few things, some techniques you can use, and then you putting your own creative twist on them. Remember, you can always rewatch any of this section after class. We'll email you the replay. So you curve around like this, and then add another curve like this. And look at that. It's like this little tail on the ground there. Class usually goes for about an hour. We'll go a little bit beyond the hour probably, but not too long. I know some of you, you're in the UK and it's late where you are. Oh, okay. I can't wait to see these ideas. Sharon said I'm making a wolf woman with multiple tails. Ooh, Clary Lou says her Frankfurter is a girl. Said drawings are creepy because they stare. I like to draw monsters actually, because I feel like when I draw monsters, I can defeat them. Because if you can erase something, it doesn't have any power over you. If I can create it, I can erase it, and I'm not scared of any monsters anymore. So sometimes people don't like my monsters, and they said bad things about them, and that was a cranky-furter I faced before. Let me know what types of cranky-furters you faced in the Facebook group. Have your parents post about them, or you could ask them to. And definitely share your art, because I can't wait to see what monsters you make. Now, remember when I said contrast? By the way, at this point, we're just turning this into our own. You could draw along with me, like I said, or make it your own, right? What contrast means opposites next to each other. And when we're talking about contrast in sizes, we're talking about putting big and small together. So these spikes, they're going to look cooler if I do spikes like this. Now, I told you we're going to be erasing a lot. So when you have to erase something, you shouldn't be frustrated. You should be like, oh yeah, I'm an artist. That's what artists do. Okay? We're going to erase all the time because we're looking for things that look better. So what happens if I draw it lightly, real lightly first, and I see how it looks before I commit to it and make those lines darker? What happens if I do spikes big and small? I think that looks a little better. Maybe medium and small. I think I like that more. Now, if yours has lots of super sharp, slender spikes, they're going to be even more scary. So you could do that if you want. When we combine these shapes, we need to look at lines that will erase. So I'm going to erase anything that goes through the tail. Like that ground line went through the tail and it went through the legs. See, the tail and the legs are in front now. So we're erasing that. And I'm erasing the lines that separated the head and the neck from the body, so that it looks like it's all connected. Now, I am going to keep this line here because the belly is in front of this leg on the other side. All right. So many of you said use tentacles. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give this guy tentacles. You could add your own. I'm going to do a little bit of overlap here. And I'm going to do these fat, chubby tentacles. You could do long, skinny ones. Try not to go too much into the left side of the page. So if you want to draw a tentacle like this, you don't have to, but if you want to, then what we want to do is, I've basically got two shapes here. Did you see that? I got an oval right here, just where the belly is, and then I've got this curvy triangle shape on top. So when I combine two shapes, that's even how I make these tentacles. But there's many ways to make tentacles, just like there's many ways to make a shark. I showed you. In the Bad Guys, the shark was made from ovals and circles. And in Finding Nemo, he's made from lots of spiky triangles because he's more dangerous. These tentacles are going to be fat and then pointy at the end because this one's a little goofy. Something like that. Remember, you could rewatch any part of this, so don't worry about making it look just like mine or making it perfect. I want yours to look unique. So even if you are following me step by step, by the end of it, I want you to make it unique. Now, Failseed said do mine furry and scaly. That's a cool idea. I think I might... let's see. I don't know if I can do fur and scales on the same one, but maybe. I mean, I certainly could. Just don't know that's what I want to do with this one. We'll see. But check this out. It's definitely a good idea. Look at this. I'm going to add a line that curves down the middle here. You don't have to. You can if you want. And I'm going to add some sort of 3D tentacles to this guy. This is looking crazy. All right, y'all got good ideas. Y'all got great ideas. Oh, and Snake Arms Turtle Team says, He rhymes with me. He says, make the eyes big, please. All right. So you could make the eyes big. Here's the thing. I've got lots of big pieces in mind. Big fat arms, big fat legs. The snout is skinny, but it's long. So I'm going to use contrast here, and I'm going to go smaller. You don't have to. Remember, when you combine big and small together, like Pomni's big eyes and a tiny little mouth, it leads to more interesting looks for your characters. So I'm going to go with small, but you don't have to. I'm going to make mine really goofy. So he's going to have one a little bigger and then one really small. And I'm going to do super cartoony eyes. There's so many art styles that our students like to draw in, and I encourage you to make it your own. Now, in terms of coloring your cranky furter, remember, we're going to add a piece in pencil each day. So I wouldn't color him yet, or her, whoever your cranky furter is. Let's wait until later in the week to do that, okay? Now, remember me, I'm going to be down here fighting the cranky furter. You're going to draw yourself down here. Tomorrow, we're going to draw action figures with a special anime, manga, award-winning comic artist who's going to be drawing action figures with us tomorrow in these cool action poses. So that's going to be here. So don't draw yourself in yet, okay? But you can definitely add details to your cranky furter, and you can definitely redraw this as many times as you want. All right, I'm going to draw little curly things on the knees here. You'll see that with a lot of cartoons. And start adding some details. Some of you said a wolf, and so I'm going to borrow parts of a wolf, like it's canines up here with the sharp teeth. And then they have a few little teeth up front, and then more. But remember, you could, and then another canine tooth over there. You can really make it your own. And I want you to turn this into your own creature. One of my best things, hey, y'all, after this class, you can keep working on it. But eventually, before tomorrow's class, share it with us, okay? Whether it's unfinished and it's just a sketch, or whether you finished your cranky furter, at least the pencil stage. Share it with us in the Facebook group. There's going to be giveaways, a winner for somebody who shares. And take a look at everyone else's monster. That's my favorite thing to do, is to see how everybody started with the same idea but made something so different. Look at these cool ideas. An elephant goose. All right. Yeah, it can absolutely be a woman. Someone asked. All right, lots of good comments and questions. Yeah, you can totally make it all. Okay, look what Lori said. I gave mine comically small wings. Contrast, big and small together, is a great idea. And you will be inspired by each other. I'm inspired by Lori. Small little wings on a giant monster is comical, is going to be funny. And I'm trying to show that my cranky furter, a little bit scary, but mostly pretty silly and goofy because I know how to fight him. So I'm going to put little wings on him. You could, you don't have to. Wings that are probably too small to actually get them off the ground. And there's so many ways to draw wings as well. This is just one. Actually, that's too much detail in there. I'm just going to leave it like that. I might make them even smaller. If I made them even smaller, it'd be even funnier. So really put, whether it's this drawing or future drawings, push that idea of big and small together in the same little character, and you'll end up with some really cool looking designs. All right, so there's one little guy. We're going to finish up here. I'm going to add a couple claws here. or a few little claws. Oh, and something I like to do for cartoony tentacles. They're really easy. There's lots of ways to do tentacles, but here's one way. I just put a bunch of ovals. I like to put them on the edge. And then watch. Put a little curve in there. And look how 3D these little tentacles all of a sudden became. Now, a lot of you are like, I want to color mine. I want to color mine. Can I encourage you to wait and instead trace it and color another one? Or redraw another one. Whatever you do, bring a cranky furter with a ground line like this to class tomorrow so that we can add to it and we'll all be on the same page. I'm going to add scales, which are going to be combinations of, there's many different ways to draw scales. I teach that in my lessons for members, and this is just one super quick way, is these little spots of different sizes, just in some different groups. Add a little overlap there. There's my cranky furter. I think his probably saying, stop doodling and pay attention, or your art's no good. Or actually, he's probably saying your art has to be perfect, because that's what cranky furters say. All right, so I shaded in the mouth. This is a tongue, by the way. It's just a cartoon way. One of a million different ways of drawing tongues. It's like, this is like a Cuphead style tongue. Cuphead is a fun cartoon character that I like. It's a video game, and it almost looks like a heart. There's so many ways of drawing tongues. You could draw a tongue in your own style. That's my goofy little cranky furter. I can't wait to see how your cranky furter turned out. And we are going to finish in 4 minutes. I got some important announcements for you. You can continue to doodle along, create the cranky furter that you like, add to it, and let me share some final announcements here. One thing that's important for you all to know is this quote that, wow, it's one of my favorite quotes. Because I would never know if it's finished. I always wanted my art to be perfect. Eventually I realized there's no such thing as perfect art, and there's no such thing as art that is actually fully finished. This artist, James Gardner, says this: a painting is never finished, it simply stops in interesting places. When you feel like, the same thing applies to a cartoon character. When you feel like your cranky furter is good enough for you, it's in an interesting place, you can stop, okay? I feel like mine is in an interesting place, not too much detail, but a good amount. I'm going to ink and color later in the week. Keep it in pencil right now. Can you do that? Some of you, I know, you just want to draw in color. Do that for Pomni or other art if you would, please. It'll just make later this week easier for you if we're all at the same stage. So, see, SpongeBob worked hard on his art. Look how hard SpongeBob is looking. And then you see all he did was the. He stopped in an interesting place. It looks like he's working on a masterpiece, and all he got done was the letter the, but very fancy looking. So a painting, a drawing, a cartoon is actually never truly finished. You just decide when it's finished. Whenever it's interesting enough, you get to decide. All right, everybody. Every day this week, I'm going to be giving out an award, a giveaway. You are going to get a sticker pack mailed to you from me, a Kids Cartoon Academy sticker pack, and an original piece of artwork. So what I'm giving out today is my Willy Wonka alcohol marker piece of art. How do you win art and a sticker pack from me? All you have to do is share your art with us in the Facebook group. Ask your parents. They take a picture, just upload it. And we'll choose another one for another winner every day, okay? So the winner today of our Artist Spotlight Award, the artist that we're spotlighting, is just chosen randomly from someone who's been sharing their art with us the past couple of weeks in the Facebook group. And without further ado, your winner is... Drum roll, please. Jack! Thanks so much for sharing your art with us, Jack. Well done. I'm going to send you a sticker pack and this original piece of art signed from me. We'll reach out to you to get your contact info and we'll mail it to you. Hey, share your work in our Facebook group to win some art yourself. Tomorrow we got a special guest joining us. Class is at the same time and it's with an award-winning manga and anime comic artist who's made all these comics and she's made all this art and she teaches lots of lessons with us here at Kids Cartoon Academy. She's an amazing teacher, an amazing artist, and she's going to teach us how to draw better people tomorrow with what we call the sticks and shapes method that makes it a lot easier to get really cool poses. And we're going to draw ourselves facing off against this cranky furter, and you'll be able to use that technique to draw better people on your own every time. So Miss Caitlin Siddell Lancaster is joining us tomorrow at the same time. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. Here's what you need to do next. Share your art to win some art and also a sticker pack. Enter the giveaway to win free art classes for a year. My team can put the link in the chat. There is a link. We also emailed it to you. It's in the Camp Hub. We'll email it again after class. There's a giveaway where you can enter that giveaway and three people will be selected to win free art classes. So enter that giveaway. I'm going to announce the winner of the giveaway Thursday in class. You got to be there live if you want to win. And tomorrow, we're going to learn how to draw better people. And me and Miss Kayla are going to learn strategies for defeating the cranky furters. Y'all ready? What I am most excited about is logging off this live class right now and going in Facebook and seeing your cranky furter, what you did with it, how you use basic shapes to make it your own, what you added, how you use contrast, big and small in the same design. And I'm going to go do that right now. I'm going to go check out some of your art. So, can you shade it? I saw some questions. Let me answer some questions. Can it be your teacher? Well, can the cranky furter be your teacher? Let's be nice. I've protected the identity of my teacher. But if you had a bad teacher, then that might be inspiration for your cranky furter. What are some other questions that we've had here? Somebody said, no, I don't want to go. Well, I'll see you tomorrow at the same time. What if you want to draw a video game character? Let's draw yourself. You could do it in the style of that character tomorrow, but let's wait and tomorrow we're going to draw ourselves into this piece. This is your epic project. Don't add too much to it besides the cranky furter over here. Keep this space open for tomorrow's art. What else we got here? I saw you could add other cranky furters to the back if you want. And I think that's it. You can email me your questions or post your questions in the Facebook group. We'll do our best to answer them. All right, everybody. Thanks so much. Somebody said, what is your Facebook? We've emailed the Facebook group. Submit it later whenever your mom gets home from work. You don't have to do it now. Your parents should be on the Facebook, not you. Okay, so they can do it for you whenever. Am I going to do a class for back to school? I'll do some other classes coming up. I would, for sure, in the future. Can add fantasy bits to yours? Absolutely. Super excited for tomorrow. Can you draw Garfield? I drew Garfield. Reach out for the free lesson. I've shared that with some people already. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm going to see you tomorrow. Share your art with us. Remember, enter the giveaway to win free art classes with us for a year. And I'll see you tomorrow to learn how to draw better people. And me and Ms. Caitlin will be sharing exactly how we defeat these cranky furs. See you tomorrow, everybody. Thanks for joining me.